Well, everybody's finally talking about impeaching Dick Cheney and talking more and more about impeaching George W. Bush. These are two great ideas. In fact, I'd say that both of them are essential. If we have any civic self-respect in this constitutional democracy, we are really obliged to impeach these two characters as soon as possible. And I don't think we should stop there. Let's take a look at the Supreme Court. The court has been handing down some shocking opinions lately. I mean, really, one after the other. You can barely keep track of them. But they've done a tremendous amount to unmake the United States as a constitutional democracy. They have made it easier for schools to become segregated on the basis of race. They have proclaimed that citizens don't have the standing to sue when the government funds religious organizations. They have basically taken a big blow against free speech rights for teenagers. They have interfered with campaign finance reform in a major way. They have upheld the right of large economic interests to engage in price fixing at the retail level. I mean, this is just within the last couple of days. Over the last few months, they've really gone hog wild. Well, what are we going to do about this? This is serious. This isn't just a matter of conservatism triumphant. We're talking about a radical program here to unmake the United States of America, make it a place that would be unrecognizable to the framers of the Constitution. Well, I don't think we should just sit here and take this. I think we should be talking about impeachment vis-a-vis the Supreme Court as well. And I think specifically what we should do is talk about impeaching Clarence Thomas. I mean, if Clarence Thomas were not on the Supreme Court, there would be no quintet of extremists basically driving the court in the direction of the Middle Ages. So he's the weakest link. He is definitely someone who should be impeached. He's someone who should never have been placed on the Supreme Court in the first place. Now, why do I say this? Well, a new book has come out called Supreme+Discomfort by Kevin Merida and Michael Fletcher. This book confirms again that Clarence Thomas lied throughout his confirmation hearings. I mean, we now know that Anita+Hill was telling the truth and that Clarence Thomas was lying about his participation in that whole sordid episode. He also lied, to get off the subject of sex for a moment, about his true feelings on the subject of Roe v. Wade. He was asked if he had ever discussed it in law school, and he said no. We now know that he did discuss it. People with whom he discussed it have come forward and said, yeah, I talked about Roe v. Wade with Clarence Thomas. He had strong feelings about it. Now I say that Merida and Fletcher have confirmed this again because this is the second book, the second thorough and well-documented history of Thomas to make these points. The other one was a book called Strange Justice by Jane Mayer and Jill Abramson, two more terrific reporters. There's no question about it. Clarence Thomas perjured himself at his confirmation hearings. On that basis alone, he should not be allowed to continue unimpeached. Moreover, he did not recuse himself from the infamous Bush v. Gore decision. He was really obliged to do so because his wife, Ginny, was working for the Heritage Foundation, and in that capacity was actually helping Team Bush to pick its staff. So if there's such a thing as conflict of interest, if there's such a thing as grounds for recusal, that was it. Nevertheless, he went right ahead and he voted in Bush's favor. Now, these are all good reasons for us to demand that Clarence Thomas be taken off the Supreme Court. It's not just a matter of his, lying and his failure to recuse himself. There's also the matter of the fact that when he was appointed, he was insufficiently experienced even to be on the court in the first place. As some will remember, it was Bush's father, George H.W. Bush, that stuck Clarence Thomas on the court at the time. The man had had 18 months of judicial experience when Bush Sr. put him on the bench. It's simply outrageous. It was outrageous then, and it's outrageous now. So let's propose a kind of an active program to try to do something about the Supreme Court as soon as possible. This may sound far-fetched to some, but those people who consider it far-fetched haven't really reckoned with the latent power of the American people, of activism. So I suggest that we start the ball rolling. we start a program to impeach Clarence Thomas and to eliminate that quintet of extremists from the highest court in the land.